you're somebody who wants to make your home smart, or you're looking to build a new home and just don't know where to start with all of your AV and security systems, this video is for you. I am about to sit down with the owner of McPherson Connected Systems. We're gonna teach you a little bit, and I'm gonna learn a little bit along the way as well, so stick around, you don't wanna miss this. As I mentioned, I am with AJ McPherson of McPherson Connected Systems, and I just want you to do a quick introduction. What is your company? What do you do? How long have you been in business? Can you give me just a brief rundown for the viewers?
Yeah, so thanks for coming by today.
Of course.
Appreciate it, you and the team here. McPherson Connected Systems has been in business about 15 years now, going on our 16th year. We started doing basically just security systems and builder work, and we have expanded into full integration.
Okay.
We paint with a broad brush now. We do full custom audio video.
Okay.
Still the security and surveillance, which is key, and then we also do networking, both hardwired and wireless, as well as taking all of these different platforms and making them work together.
Yeah, which we talked about a little bit before
yeah, that's the tricky
we started
part.
to roll, and it's like, okay, what is custom integration? What is that for like a common person that doesn't know a lot about the audio visual world?
Yeah, and that's the whole key, that they don't have to know about
Correct.
it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
if we did our job correctly, they don't have to know about it,
Yeah.
and they can run multiple different platforms at their home and business on one or two apps that everybody's familiar with now.
Yes.
There is really probably 9 or 10 different apps out there that can do everything we do, but that's the problem. Mm-hmm. The integration part that you mentioned is taking all of these platforms and keeping them simple so people's lives are safer and just more fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I mean, I was telling you about it before. I feel like I have probably 10 different
Right.
apps that I use for my smart home, and I can't remember what app is for what and where I need to go to turn these lights off or turn these lights on. Sure, that you probably, is that a common client that you have, is somebody who's trying to get their home up to a smart home or just getting a better understanding, or where do you see a lot of your business come from?
You know, we deal with the public,
Mm-hmm.
so we get everybody through here, but that is a common story
Mm-hmm.
that everyone says, well, I've had this that's sort of worked for years, and that has sort of worked for years, or we have people here at the table with their house plans laid out, and
Mm-hmm.
one spouse likes to point out to the other that they've had lots of stuff that's sort of worked for years.
Mm-hmm.
So they've put their toe in the water as far as the space goes. They just need a company like us to help pull them all the way and let them take that plunge, that jump to say, okay, it doesn't have to be crazy difficult because it has been so far. Mm-hmm. And here's what we're gonna do, and here's the budget for it. Mm-hmm. And let's find that sort of glass slipper to slide on to make sure it works for them, for their home, or for their business, because we do residential and commercial too.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's
usually
great.
both for a customer.
We talked a little bit too about, you know, if somebody has bought a pre-existing home, can you go in, modernize a home that was built back in the 50s that wasn't maybe set up for a system of current day?
Yes, it is easier during a new construction phase.
Yes.
That is easier and less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're talking about is our retrofit business.
Okay.
And absolutely we can.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to depend on exactly, we will physically go out and look at the structure. We won't just ask for pictures and that thing. We'll come out and take a look at it. Mm-hmm. Like any major city, which we are now,
Yeah.
we have older neighborhoods
Mm-hmm.
and people who have big, beautiful homes in older neighborhoods, but still want all the new, fun tech. So that is more of a challenge, but we absolutely do that, and it represents a significant portion of our business.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
It makes sense because, you know, like you said, established city, communities with a lot of influx from cities that might have already had these things integrated in their buildings, and people are moving here from
There's
those
a lot
cities.
of transplants here right now.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot
So-
of tech and doctors and medical field in general coming into town. And to your point, they've had these products before, maybe in a house they built, but they transplanted, so they're moving into an existing house. That is not an unusual story around here.
So you do work obviously on the new construction side and in the luxury market. What are some things that you're seeing that are kind of exciting or that excite you are currently happening in that market?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And after 15 years, It's harder to get excited about new stuff. But this is an interesting year. AI is the buzzword,
Yep.
right? And how we're going to increase our automation platform or make it more intuitive due to AI. What questions does that raise when you're talking about your home? You know, this isn't just your work or your car, even your phone. This is where you live and where you sleep and where you're raising your family. So this will be an interesting year for that, to see some exciting products and how that's going to be integrated in. I think a lot of the stuff we do, there isn't necessarily a new way of doing it or a new platform. But what I have seen the last couple of years that excites me as a business owner and as someone who services our own product is an increase in dependability. It doesn't sound exciting, but I'm telling you, when platforms are more robust, more dependable, and can be scalable more easily, I find that exciting.
Yeah, and it doesn't have like so much of a headache where you're like,
Sure.
I want to step into this space, but then there is some type of connection failure or something like that.
It makes it easier to say yes when someone calls, can I do this or that? Because we always want to say yes.
Of course.
And we probably will get it done, but it does make things simpler for the customer and more reliable for us. So it's a win-win. So we'll see where this all goes.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I feel like the whole AI world is just such a crapshoot.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows yet. So
we'll see what happens.
We'll see where it lands, and we'll be there when it does.
And then as far as, I know we were laughing a little bit about this, but maybe somebody, it could have been me, who's like, oh, I want to save a couple bucks and I'm going to try to do all of this myself. Obviously, you can go and fix their mistakes, I'm assuming.
Love that person.
Yeah, obviously. And what would be something that you would say to somebody who is maybe watching this right now, who is contemplating doing their own setup, but hasn't made the decision on whether the cost savings make sense or not?
Yeah, so when you're talking about that value proposition, right?
Yes.
Most people they have an inkling of what they want to do, right? So I always ask them, tell me what the want is. In a perfect world, what's your want? I will take care of the how. And we'll send the guys in and take care of how we do it. So someone tries to do it on their own, whether it's security, surveillance, automation, or audio, video. And there's a cost to that. So maybe they save some money, but do they get the most value? Are they really solving that problem? Is it square peg, square hole? So what I tell a lot of people if they're considering doing it themselves is, okay, so maybe this part you do yourself, maybe this part you let us do.
Okay.
And then we'll take a look at it there. But we've fixed many commercial systems because we'll come in behind another company that maybe got them 80% of the way there, 3/4 of the way there, and it's that last little bit that really makes the difference between an enthusiastically happy customer. Is really that last little bit, that last 5%.
Okay.
That I think we're really good at.
Well, and so you obviously are going in, you have the experience, you've fixed mistakes for maybe other companies that haven't taken them to the finish line. So if there's somebody watching right now, why would they choose you over maybe another audiovisual company out there?
Well, that's a great question. And like any industry, there are fully licensed and bonded insured customers like us, and then maybe some others that are not. We aren't the least expensive, nor do we want to be because of the amount of effort and time that we put into it. I think that probably we look at the whole process from beginning to end, and we really get down at the beginning, like I said, of what is your want? In a perfect world, what do you want this to do in the end? And then we dive into the how, because I think a lot, if a project's going to be great, a lot of that depends on the front end of it. So many companies leave stuff to the back end. So I think our value proposition for our end product, the amount of insight we give at the front end of it.
Okay.
And then we also include with all of our pricing and all of our installations, training.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so we don't just get done and disappear and you show up and wonder how everything works. We sit with you, we go over what's been done. Maybe there were some changes along the way because in new construction that happens a lot. So hey, this change, we talked about that. So this is the cause and effect of that. So our real painstaking effort on the front end and the very back end to ensure that the customer got what they thought they were getting, and then know how to fully get the value out of what they did receive through comprehensive training at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
At what point in that new construction process would you want to have a client reach out and contact you? Because I've worked with new construction.
I
and
bet you have.
I know
yeah, sure.
each builder works a little bit different.
That's
but
true.
What's ideal for your clients?
Well, as soon as possible. I mean, really, as soon as they get a set of plans. If you want to say ideal, like perfect world ideal, we sit here with the plans, you know, we talk, we go over things, we have a few laughs. I can show them everything in here. We get a budget number in place, so because when they're building, whether it's a new business or a new home, especially a custom home, like luxury, like you talked about, a lot of people go into it, they don't even know what their house costs, like halfway through, because they've made all these choices. But we can go all the way up to pre-drywall.
Okay.
I'm walking a house this afternoon and I'm meeting the people for the first time, and they're in mechanicals.
Okay.
You know, the house is framed.
Okay.
So is that more compressed? Does that make us have to be more direct and really drill down and make maybe for some late nights to get some paperwork done? Sure, but it's still capable. So to answer your question, I guess, a little long-winded, but is in a perfect world, as soon as possible, like anything else. Our first meeting here is very casual. No decisions have to be made. Yep. But a lot of times, especially with technology, I got to think it's this way with all of it, but especially with technology, like the first meeting might create more questions than it answers, because it has to do with your lifestyle.
Correct.
And it's really difficult to make lifestyle choices where you've never lived. So it has to do with the layout of your home. You know, we're talking security, we're talking lighting, you know, and tying these things together. So where do you think you're going to spend most of your time? And that's why I think that when we meet sooner than possible, the cascading effect of that can benefit them not just in what we're doing, but in all the selections they're making about the interior especially.
Well, I mean, I feel like it just sets expectations from the very get-go. And whenever you can set expectations from the get-go and have somebody understand that, it just makes everything go.
Well, as a realtor, you understand that completely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who am I telling?
For sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're watching out there and you're thinking, like, I don't know if I should do it yet, or I'm in this process, or considering it, like, sooner than later. And have those conversations. There's like no shame behind it as well with the
I get that all the time.
Yeah,
like,
like,
I don't know this and I don't know that.
Yes, exactly.
People always know more than they think they do.
Uh-huh.
And what we do touches more of their lives than they realize. And that's why that early meeting again, you know, you bring up a good point, keep dwelling on it. Really, let's drive that point home to them that this is, I'm glad we're doing this. A lot of times afterward, it's almost a relief. Well, this wasn't really that hard or that big a deal. And I said, of course it wasn't. Yeah. And I think that probably decompresses a little bit and takes a little pressure off the rest of the process for them, which is a lot when you're building a new luxury home.
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And before we wrap up here, are there any myths out there from your sector of the world that you would love to debunk, or just maybe break down a wall or barrier that somebody has normally when they walk through?
Boy, I never thought about that. I'll tell you, the one thing I hear a lot that I find in most of my meetings that I have to somewhat explain would be that this doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be overtly expensive. Anytime you're shopping in a luxury field and you want nice things, people always say, well, do I need to do this? Well, need's a funny word.
Correct.
There's a lot in their house they don't probably need to do, but they work hard and they're building a nice home, so they want consistency in the house. They want every aspect of what they're doing to be consistent on a quality level. So it doesn't have to be hyper complicated. And I think that's the biggest thing, is getting past that first, you know, people are often sitting back, they have their arms crossed, they're worried about the expense and the complication of everything, but once we get in here and really take that large pyramid and break it down a little bit and just kind of go piece by piece, it's really not as difficult and as big a deal as they think. And that's part of that value I talked about at the beginning, is diffusing a lot of that and easing into it, getting to that want that they have. And really what we are ultimately above technology or contract or any of that is we are just here to solve problems. Yep. Just like they get you to solve the problem of finding a new home or selling their old, we just are here to solve their problem. So anything we can do to help with that, we are enthusiastic about.
Love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking time.
Thank you.
To meet with me, chat a little bit.
Good time.
And hopefully we can get some more clients out there.
Let's go. Let's get to work.
Well, hopefully you connected with that and learned something along the way. If you are looking to do anything with your home, I would say don't do it yourself. Lean on the professionals. So make sure you reach out to AJ and his team. They would be happy to help you out, sit down and talk through the process. And if you have any questions about real estate, Central Ohio, anything to do in and around the city, as always, I am Seabest Nathan. I put out videos every Friday. So until next Friday, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow along, and have a great week.